future people in case any late joiners to the trip come. We were talking about it. So Aaron Paxton, he got orders. His ship's going out.
Oh,
So he's
okay.
not going to be able to go anymore. And then Amanda Warblay broke her wrist. So
Oh,
she can't
wow.
kayak.
Mhm.
I know. Oh yeah, you weren't here when we said that. So we reached out to 2 people on the wait list. So we may have some
Cool.
late joiners. So I'm just gonna record this in case they can go. That way they get all the info too. All
Awesome.
right, let's see. I'm gonna go to, let me find out where did I put the itinerary? There we go.
So I just emailed you, right?
Yeah. Nope, not that.
Everyone good on drinks still?
Yeah, having drinks.
Hey, what do you want? Water, sparkling water, soda.
With like sparkling
not
water.
this.
I'd love one as
There
well.
we go.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Good.
Any
Flavor, yes.
All right, we're just getting beverages. I'm gonna grab a copy of, oh no, wait, I have it in front of me. Okay, are we ready?
Mhm.
Cool. This is
Yep.
Vanessa, guys. She's on the
Vanessa.
screen.
Hi.
Orange.
I don't know if my video is being weird right now.
Huh?
Oh, I don't know if my video's still on. I can't see it, so hopefully
Oh,
it is.
See.
I can see you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, perfect. All right. So can you see the screen, Vanessa, the itinerary?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so as always, disclaimer, things may change. In the moment when we get there, you never know what can happen, weather, whatever else. So roll with it.
No.
You'll have more fun if you just go with it. Whatever happens, happens. And then also, we really like to just take advantage of, like, if we see something cool, we can go explore it. So I'm not super strict on like an itinerary necessarily, to leave that like openness to like, hey, we want to spend the next 30 minutes like in this spot and we didn't expect that, you know? But for that reason, it's also a lot easier to stay together as a group because there won't be any like planned, like at this time we'll be in this place. But it is a very casual trip, especially that first day in Avalon. So day one, the 26th, we'll be meeting at Balboa at 7 a.m. And then we'll leave from there for the Dana Point ferry. You have to pay for parking up in Dana Point, which is why we're just going to carpool.
We got that covered.
Yeah. So that was included. So, but that's why we wanted to carpool. If you're like, I have something I need to go do Wednesday night, as soon as we get back and you want to drive yourself, just know you would have to pay for the parking of that extra vehicle. But yeah, so we'll meet at Balboa. We've arranged to park there with John, the security guy. So he'll watch our cars for us. So we take pictures and send them, and he like keeps an eye on everything. And then we'll take our ferry ride out at 9:30. So we'll get in. The ferry ride is about an hour and a half. So when we get in, we won't be able to check in right away to the Airbnbs. So we can store our bags at the ferry landing if we want to and not be carrying everything around. It is a cost. So like if you want to do that, you can. But otherwise we'll just be hanging out. We'll probably like find a restaurant as like our base and drop bags there, and like one person can stay with those, and like, you know, we'll take turns kind of going cruising around the town. And then when it's time to check in, 2 people, probably Ryan and I, will go get the golf carts, come back into, because it's a little bit of a walk away. It's on like the other, like probably the farthest you can go in Avalon, which is not very far. But we'll go get the golf carts, come back, load everything up, and then go settle in. At the Airbnb after that, like it's free time. If you want to like arrange for zip lining, if you want to go parasailing, there's all kinds of stuff to do in Avalon. We will just be cruising the island in the golf carts and seeing what we can see. And then there's like a really epic local spot that's back by the golf course, kind of off the main strip, and they have awesome happy hour and like cheap tacos and stuff. So we'll hang out there. And then if you just want to chill at the Airbnb, you can do that too. We'll have dinner that night all together in town somewhere. And then it's going to be an early night because we have an early morning the next morning. Also, so the Airbnb situation. We are staying at the Descanso Beach Club. For those of you who haven't been there, it's like there's the main town of Avalon, and then there's the casino, they call it. It's not an actual casino. It's like a theater and like event space. And then past that is all these white, beautiful, brand new like apartment complex buildings. That's where we're staying. They have a pool. It says on one of the Airbnbs hot tub, but I have to verify that there's actually a hot tub there. They have like beach volleyball courts. They have private beach
Basketball
access,
court.
a basketball
That's
court.
nice.
There's like gathering patio areas overlooking the ocean where you can like have quiet time and read a book if you want. So if you want to just hang out at the Airbnb, you can. We have 2 that are both 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So everyone will like split up, and we'll have to figure out married couple arrangements, like if we want to do separate, like all girls and all guys, or if you guys are cool like being in one room and then having guys in the other room, or girls vice versa. But we won't have to share bathrooms, so we'll talk about that separately and figure out sleeping arrangements.
I'm cool. with
Places.
that.
Okay, yeah. So we can do like a girls slumber
Guys
party
and
and a guys
girls.
slumber party. Woohoo. But then we'll do like other stuff all together. So like the next morning, we'll wake up bright and early, get ready to go, be packed up to go hit the kayaks. We'll podcast church. So just like we did in Yosemite, but this time we'll be doing it in the Airbnb before we leave. As we like eat breakfast, we'll have a little church service in one of the Airbnbs. And then the Cyclone leaves at 10:15. That's the water taxi that's taking us over to Two Harbors. So by 9:30, we'll be leaving the Airbnb. Like the golf carts will shuttle people over and luggage to the dock where the Cyclone takes off. And then we'll board that. It's 40 minutes. It's kind of awesome because as you're riding the Cyclone, you're looking at everything we're going to be kayaking. So you get to like cruise the course in 40 minutes on a speedboat.
Cool.
That it'll take us a couple days to come back, and we'll be able to like point out like the different places we're sleeping and stuff like that. So that's always a fun ride. And then once we're in Two Harbors, we're actually going to hang out a little while. And the reason for that is we want the tide to be coming in when we're kayaking. That paddle out is the hardest paddle current wise of the whole trip. So like turning the corner coming out of Two Harbors is really difficult. It's made so much harder when the tide is constantly trying to drag you out. And also our kayaks will be the heaviest this day because of all the water we're going to have on them and stuff. So ideally, we just really want the tide to be coming in and working with us, helping us stay on track and close to the island. So we're going to wait until 1 o'clock to launch off. The beauty of that is there's like a restaurant there. It's a cool spot to hang out. There's like a little general store. We can, first load up our kayaks, and then if you have extra space and you want to go get some like creature comfort. Mhm.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll take off after the tide starts coming in. This paddle only took us 2 hours, 2.5.
It took us like a good solid 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was shorter than that. It's a hard paddle. But we'll be leaving with plenty of time. So you'll see on the itinerary, I have like high tide, low tide, and sunrise, sunset, moonrise, and moonset for each day. So we'll have tons of time before the sun goes down. 6.5 hours is more than enough to get to our first campsite. But we're going to be concentrated. It's like the first day where we'll be getting our paddle arms geared up and stuff. So we won't be doing as much like stopping and snorkeling on this stretch. It's going to be a like, let's just get to our destination kind of thing and set up camp.
Last year when we did it, there was like an hour stretch where she was literally just using one arm to like fight the
tide was
current
going
and like
out.
stay in the same
we were doing
spot.
it.
Because of the time of day.
And the tide. So like
We didn't do any tide research last year.
because
We just went out.
we just went.
Yeah.
We didn't prep. We just got kayaks and went.
We're not actually having to fight against the current.
It should be
Right.
easier this time.
So my
for sure.
theory is that the reason I had to keep paddling only on one side was because my kayak was so front heavy and the tide was going out. So it kept turning me out and trying to sweep me out. So ideally, if we have timed this out correctly, we won't be getting pulled out. And so we will be able to just kind of hug the coast and it'll be more even. Yeah. It's still going to be a hard paddle. This is the hardest one, but it's nice that our arms are nice and fresh and we have lots of time to get it done. And then our campsite for that night, Ripper's Cove, there's a picture of it on the next page. That is the only sand beach on this side of the island, other than Two Harbors, but that's man-made sand. So it's like a really beautiful natural beach, and there's like shady areas with trees and stuff, and we'll be there for 2 nights. So we'll set up camp, and then that'll be our spot for a little while. So that's the plan for that day. Then the next day, it's all the days after that are casual time wise. Like we don't have super strict, like at this hour to this hour, we're doing this. We're just gonna see how it goes. So in camp, we'll wake up, we'll hang out. There's like a reef there. And it's really great snorkeling. And then we'll head up to the airport in the sky at some point. The airport in the sky has a restaurant, it has outlets and air conditioning and bathrooms. So it'll be a good break in the middle of the day if anyone needs to like call home and check in, you know, or like do something. There will be cell service and internet up there.
9 mile. Like,
4
Both
miles up,
2 ways. So it's
Back
4.5
down.
up
9 miles total.
and 4.5 down. And the reason
Going
why
down's way easier.
Is it really
be like
steep?
4 miles.
Yes.
trek.
It's a mountain.
It's not. They're fire roads, so they're steep, but they're not like crawling hands and knees.
What do you think of as steep? That's a
Like
That's
pain on the knees
Yeah.
coming back down.
potentially.
I mean, if I would say maybe bring trekking poles in because those will help. Like you can plant them in front of you to take some of the pressure off your knees.
Have you ever done Koi Pei in Mission Trails?
No, but I did like a crazy one in Montana. That was like
Okay.
multiple thousand feet elevation.
Yeah, so it's
So-
about 8
Coming back
30.
down was like so.
It's SC5, so it's gonna be maintained.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
flat.
you're not like rolling over it, kind of.
You
The
get probably
first,
need poles there.
so we're bushwhacking a
Poles will
little
help.
bit.
taking some of that pressure off your knees, but you don't need them.
There's no actual, this is not a trail you'll find on a map. So like from Ripper's Cove, there's like a bunny
like a foot
trail
trail,
kind of
yeah.
that somebody created to the road. So for a little while, it's a little rugged because it's somebody just bushwhacked it. And then enough people have done it now that it like formed a trail. And then once we get to the road, we're on a nice, smooth, even road the rest of the way. But roads are not made for hiking, so they're always going to be steeper than a trail is going to be. There's no switchbacks. It's just kind of straight up.
The thing about this trip is we always say pack less because most of the time it's all on our backs. This trip, the kayaks are so big and there's so much space that I actually say bring more things that are going to make it a little easier.
Within reason.
Within reason, yeah, because there is a lot of space in the kayaks. So the only time it's really going to be on your back is the day we get there and the day we leave.
It's a trail shoes are appropriate for the-
Yes, definitely. We did it in
I'm
our $5
gonna do
water
flip
shoes.
flops.
Huh.
Don't do as we say, not as we do. You'll risk getting blisters and flip flops. So don't, if you want to be comfortable, bring trail shoes. There will be enough space in your kayak for them. Hmm?
Tevas.
What's a teva?
Teva is a sandal that straps.
Okay, like a water shoe almost.
Yeah, like a chapo.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Those are
perfect.
perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah. We did it in our water shoes last year that had a sole that was like this big. We bought them at the dollar store before we left town. And they were like shredded
Yeah.
by the end of the trip. It's so
Oh my
bad.
God.
Cool thing about rippers too is you can kayak basically to any of the adjacent beaches during that day. If
Yeah.
we're not hiking, you can go explore, go to some of the other places to snorkel, to check out the caves. You have free reign to kind of just choose what you want to go do.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So that day is gonna be like a lot of hanging out and then the 9-mile hike.
Hopefully you
And
see some bison.
yeah, bison burgers, they're delicious.
They're so good.
And then the next day, we're going from Rippers over to Long Point. This is not a super long paddle. There's lots of stops along the way, tons of caves. And because this is like the whole day's activity, like we're going to load up and try to leave by 10. But then we're just going to take our time. Like if you see something you want to go explore, do it. If you want to beach inside a cave and go and swim in the cave and see what you can see, do it. This is going to be like a really like fun water day.
I know we're gonna have walkie-talkies, so we're gonna try to have everyone pair up and each pair have a walkie-talkie. That way, like if we're kind of spread out from each other, we can just chirp each other and be like, "Hey, let's go check this out. Let's go do this. Let's go do that."
Yeah, and we'll have a buddy system too, which we'll talk about. So yeah, so this is a good water day. And then when we get to Long Point, that beach is like we'll see it when we pass, but it's like nothing else. All the other beaches are in these little coves and you can still see the island and stuff. This one is literally on the point that juts the furthest out into the ocean. And then you've got cliffs on either side of you. So when you're on that beach, all you see is ocean in front of you. Like you feel like you're on like a private island. And so it's a really cool spot. It's got like little like nooks and crannies on that beach and then like lots of rocks to climb around on. And then off of that is where the canyon starts underwater. So it's like a little shelf for like 30 feet and then it completely drops off underwater. So the snorkeling there is really interesting too, because if you sweep out a little too far, you've got nothing under you and it's kind of wild. But yeah, that's going to be a really cool experience. And then sometimes there's wood there and there's like a little fire ring. So if
We're
we get
gonna try to
lucky,
find some.
if we got lucky, we'll be able to have a fire that night.
Last year, we actually kayaked to a bunch of different beaches and collected wood and strapped it to our kayaks and brought it back to
Yeah,
have a fire. So we could do that again.
we could definitely do that.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday. So this is going to be the longest paddle, but also the easiest. So once you turn past Long Point, it's kind of smooth sailing. Like you're gonna notice we'll see way more boats, way more people. You won't feel like we're out in the middle of nowhere on our own necessarily anymore. We're gonna start passing things because for everyone that rents a boat when they come into town or anything like a kayak, a boat, any of that stuff for the day, Long Point is the furthest they're able to go. So once we turn that corner, there's tons of activity, more and more as we get into town. There's also, we'll be passing the one spot that's like known for being the absolute best snorkeling on the island. And so we'll definitely stop there and get in the water. That's where we saw the shark last year.
We saw stingray, shark. It was wild.
It was insane. It was like a kelp forest. So yeah, so that should be a good, nice paddle. We're gonna be watching the time all day. We're taking
Kayak patch.
Yeah, so that's back into Avalon. So that's our last day on the water. And then depending on how long it takes us, like we're gonna be good with time. We're gonna watch time and for each stop kind of have like okay, we'll be here for this long and then we'll head out because we want to keep track and like get into town at a reasonable hour. And then once we get into town, depending on how long we have, we'll probably get food because we will have been out camping for a couple days and not have had a real meal. And then we have like a little bit of time probably to get like souvenirs or like last minute things before we catch the ferry at 5 back to the mainland. And then we'll arrive back and drive back to Balboa. So estimated time, and this is generous. Like this is like if something happens or it takes us a really long time to pack the car or something, we'll get back by 8 o'clock that night. Right when church is getting out.
So-
and we'll be stinking breath.
Emerging night.
That's the immersion night.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh shoot. We're getting back late then.
I've been talking with my co-captains,
Okay.
making sure they're there.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Well,
Okay. Well, yes. Any questions?
What time did you say we get back to the church?
8 o'clock.
probably like 8,
And emergent night is at what time?
6:30. Yeah.
We'll be landing in Dana Point at 6:30.
That's about an hour drive.
Yeah, just about an hour. So, alrighty, and then there's just a couple of other things. The taco soup stuff.
So the water that we're bringing with us, how many gallons per each person? Because I feel like that's gonna be like what, a solid 7 gallons you'll need per person.
So you know your body better than anybody else. So based on like how much you think you're going to need to drink, use like bring that every day and then account for an extra day. So like for me, a full gallon is like a lot and I probably wouldn't drink that much in a day. But I will bring like
Last year we had what? Those are 2-gallon bottles
yeah.
that we brought.
Yeah. So I would bring like a gallon a day and then one extra. So probably like 5.
5, 6 gallons.
Yeah.
So half your body.
And then do they get really hot? Does the water get
They-
really hot?
They can if they're sitting inside the kayaks. So when we're on the water, the ocean water is cooling compartments on the inside of the kayaks. When we beach, wherever we leave the kayak, if it's baking in the sun, anything that's stored inside is going to be getting hot. So when we're beached, if you want your water not to be getting hot, just take it out
Yeah.
and leave
Water
it like in
baking
the
in
shade.
plastic bottles.
Mm.
Right,
Good
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and it tastes not the best.
Okay.
Yeah, water is definitely the biggest logistics
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that we have to worry about since there's no like fresh running water anywhere
Yeah.
besides two harbors.
Yeah.
So we're bringing like a 6 liter like water reservoir essentially
Okay.
for food since we're
Okay.
going to be boiling the water anyways.
Okay.
And then our drinking water will probably bring probably like 6 gallons, three
Mhm.
each.
Which for
Yeah.
us is plenty. We don't drink a whole lot. But yeah, so whatever you know you're probably going to need for water, bring that and then add an extra day for just in case. And then we will be able to get water in Avalon because there is a large grocery store there. It'll probably be more expensive than getting water on the mainland, but then again, packing and bringing all of that water on the ferry and like carrying it all that way is a lot. So you do you, whatever you want to do. If you want to buy it here and carry it the whole way, or if you want to get it when we're in Avalon, we can do that. They will have water in Two Harbors, but that store is not big enough to sell all of us the water we would all need for 4 days. We would probably completely clean them out of gallon jugs or risk them not having enough, which we don't want to do. So last stop to really stock up on water will be in Avalon.
There's a bonds right there.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that's the one. So I already talked about the itinerary.
Prudently, we probably should at least take a couple gallons of our own water and maybe supplement it with some extra from the store.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, if you want to split it up between getting water here and then getting water when we're on the island.
it really depends on what you want to carry,
Yeah.
because if you get it at home, you're carrying it on your back until we get to the ferry and then on the island until we get to the Airbnb. If you get on the island, you're saving some weight until you load up. On the
I bring
island,
that water bladder that I have in my backpack.
so I would suggest bringing those and just having it just in case. The more water we have, the better, honestly.
But I don't need to bring my backpack.
Mm-mm.
Not necessarily, unless you want to pack. So
So last year we had our water bladders plus that 6 liter reservoir we had, and we just had them stuffed in the kayaks just in
A
case.
duffel bag or
a duffel bag is easiest. So up there on the screen, you'll see the vessels. These are the Prowler 13s. That compartment in the front, so like for scale, that's Ryan standing next to them. They're really long. So we had our backpacking packs and we guessed without having seen them that what we can fit in our backpacking packs would be what we could fit in the kayak, and we could do that and then like another half.
Are they 14s or 12s?
They're 13s, Prowler 13s.
Yeah.
Anglers, so we could fish if we wanted to. You just need to get a fishing license. I told you guys about that. If you want to go fishing,
And the
you can.
compartment stays super dry or?
Yeah, the compartment stays super dry. They're super watertight.
I mean,
We
I
put
wouldn't say
everything in the water.
super
Put our
watertight.
clothes in waterproof bags.
Yeah.
We put everything in
Dry
waterproof bags. The tent, the sleeping bags. You really just don't want to risk getting that stuff wet because
They're-
that'll make for a miserable night.
They're pretty solid, but I wouldn't say they're exactly watertight.
Okay.
Water gets in them because we're out on the ocean, so like if you open them, you're wet, everything's kind of wet, and water just gets
So,
everywhere. But
the
like
waterproof bags to get.
we have Summit bags.
Do you want me to go grab some?
Yeah, do you want to grab them?
They have them you could rent on the island too if you wanted to. But I'll grab some.
On the gear list that we did, the link will take you to like Amazon where they have like waterproof bags that you can get. You can get all different kinds, but we get like various sizes.
So this is a small one, for example, and then it just rolls up and seals.
And they're like, if you put something wet in one of these and seal it up, you take it out like 4 weeks later and it's still wet. There's no air going in one of those things. But we'll put everything in there. So for getting stuff to the island and to the kayaks, a duffel bag would be great if you just have it all packed up, all ready to go in those bags. And then you'll take it out of the duffel or whatever large bag you carried it in, put it into the kayak. And then the people who are renting us the kayaks will take all of our bags that we carried everything in and they'll store them for us so that when we drop the kayaks off, they'll give our bags back.
Yep.
And we can repack all of it up. So like if you choose to use your backpacking pack and just load that up with all the stuff you're taking with you, you don't have to take the whole pack
Right.
with you. So, but a duffel bag works great because that's easy to like fold up and it's lightweight.
Yeah.
So if you take out just what you need and put it in the duffel bag and put that in the boat.
Yeah, so you bring it in the duffel bag, you take out whatever you're taking with you on the kayaking part, put it into your kayak, and then they'll take your bag and take it down to
Avalon.
Avalon for us.
So make sure all your stuff is already in waterproof bags.
Right,
Yeah.
So
We
you're
might-
just packing it in the duffel so you can carry it all together.
right. We might have some extra one of these too. So once we get all of our stuff loaded up, if we have any extras, we could throw those out.
Different sizes and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you buy them on Amazon, they come in packs of like 6 with like 4 different
Yep.
sizes.
Yeah. And then the back part of the kayak too, we all had like our largest bag, waterproof bag on the back, and then you just strap it down with bungee cords. So that's an extra storage area. And then that's where we put like all the wood when we were scrounging and we just strapped it all down to the back of the kayak.
That's also why maybe bunking up with somebody is a good idea because then you're
Yes.
bringing less stuff with you, you know, as long as you don't mind, bunking up with somebody.
Sharing a tent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less to
Um,
carry, less bags you need, so forth, so forth.
Yeah. These ones are super stable. They're made for fishing out on the ocean. So they're made to not get rocked too much, which is great. They're not as rolly as the ones that you sit inside. But it also means that you're exposed the whole time. So like your legs aren't going to be tucked away. You're going to be sitting on top. So just sunscreen
What model are they?
every day, all the time. The Prowler
Prowler
13
13s.
Angler. So like sunscreen, you'll be wet the whole time, you're kind of, it's just like the kayaks that we've been using at the Catalina or at the Mission Bay Aquatic Center.
Better.
It's bigger and longer and with lots more storage and better quality plastic.
Yep.
So you're still like sitting on top just like that. So like your seat's wet and your legs are out. It would be awful to get a horrible sunburn on the first day because we are exposed the whole time. There's no like avoiding being in the water or avoiding.
got a tamper. Okay.
Yeah, so like sunscreen literally every hour if you need it. Like,
Get some of these, man.
yeah,
UV
rash guards.
What are they?
I was wondering
UVA,
if you could get
UVB?
probably like a light pant like this too.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, and then we have hats for everyone, the sun hats. That'll make it very nice. Let's talk about the marine radio. So we have it here. And then I'm gonna laminate a card that'll have the script of what to say when you're calling for help, and we'll have that with the radio at all times, and everyone will always know which kayak the radio is in, where it is, how to find it. So when we can mess with it when we're out there. If you turn this on, you can listen to the boats like talking to each other and stuff. We never ever talk into it unless we are calling a mayday. Like we have no reason to join the conversation at all,
Right.
but there is a script that you use to help them find you and to help them like know what's happening. So this is it. You say mayday, 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 and then your vessel name. So we are Kayak Prowler 13. It's not as official. And then repeat that, mayday, 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 this is Kayak Prowler 13, we are located at. And then we'll make sure to constantly be in communication about where we are. This is this cove, this is this cave. So that at any point, if you need to call, you can tell them I am at, this cove, so that there's an actual landmark of where you are. So this cove on Catalina Island. Or you could know, like, I'm 1 mile from Rippers Cove going south on Catalina Island, and they can locate you that way. But landmarks are great. And then there is and you say the situation. So like shark attack, or I think someone's having a heart attack, or whatever else. You state the situation and then please send medical aid or rescue. And then give the group name. They would or the group size. Normally that's for saying how many people are on the vessel. Like if we were like a 30-person boat, you give the number of people. But since we are a group that is on separate vessels, we still want to say like we are in a group of 10 people,
Right.
or however many are there presently with you in the situation so that they can prepare for that. So yeah. marine radio. We'll have the instructions and this, like I said, laminated with it. So if in an emergency, your mind might go blank, but it'll be very, very easy to like take it out, read the script, talk to them. And yeah, and we'll play with this when we're out here so everyone can get comfortable like turning it on and hearing what the chatter sounds like and what channel to be on and all of that. So that's that. And then the buddy system. So just to make it easiest, hopefully we would all be within eye shot of each other.
Should
But we also don't want to like everyone goes at their own pace. Everyone has, and we all know how hard it is. Like when you're a fast hiker to be hiking with the slowest person, it's hard. It's actually harder sometimes, or vice versa. If you're in the back and you feel rushed, like you need to like go crazy to get caught up with the front person. So instead, we're just going to do a buddy system. And then if anybody's like, oh, I want to go beach over there, or I have to go to the bathroom, or I'm going to like go into this cave, stick with your buddy, and then everybody can kind of take their time. We'll have radios, so each pair will have a walkie-talkie. We'll have call signs, just like we always do, and nicknames, because we always get nicknames for everybody. And we'll have our way of communicating on the walkies. So every pair is going to have a walkie, so we can be in constant communication, and then just say like, "Hey, we're gonna go beach over here. Like, we'll catch up to you guys soon," or whatever else, so that we can keep track of everyone. But this is our way of making sure that everybody like has fun and can take their pace and go at the speed that they need to, but we're safe. We don't ever want one person to be off where nobody else can see them and they can't see us and all of that, because it's just not, there's no cell service. There's no way to call for help except for the marine radio and our walkies. Like we are each other's lifeline. So we really need to make sure that we are at least with one other person and a way to communicate between us.
Especially snorkeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which snorkeling is going to be like, we should all be together for the
Yes,
most part.
100%.
Yeah.
No one should go off.
No, absolutely not. And like even the thought of the risk of one person going off has gotten them kicked off the trip. Where like if you're not going to stay with us, if you're not going to be with the group in a situation where we feel responsible for your lives, it's not going to happen. We need to know that we can trust you as much as you are trusting us to plan this and to do this with you. So play ball, stay with your buddy, stay on the radio, communicate, keep the radio on and loud. If there's only two people and they're like, hey, we're going to go check this cave out, and then one person, like you want to get in the water, one person has to stay where they can see that person and where they can reach the radio. Like you're not just off wandering around without being close to a communication device.
There were times when she was snorkeling last year and I was just floating on top of the kayak.
It is my
Just
backup
chilling.
lifeguard, just in case something happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're just going to be safe about it. As we're out there, we'll feel the situations as they come, and just be in communication with each other of like, hey, this is dicey. Let's go around the corner before we stop or something like that. And we'll just be talking and getting a feel for like what everybody can do and is comfortable with.
I feel like going into those sketchy snorkeling spots is going to be much easier with more people too.
Oh yeah.
Like-
But there may not always be like room for everyone. So like the one cave that I got off on where you didn't want to come, so you stood
Mhm.
on the beach, and then we had people outside the cave. There wouldn't have been enough room for everybody to go at the same time.
I was in the kayak.
No, that was at Long Point in the cave.
No, yeah, I was in the kayak.
Oh, you
Oh,
did?
yeah.
You got back in your kayak?
Yeah, I was above you.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But either way, there wasn't enough room for everybody to do it at the same time. But like some people were hanging out, like bobbing around in their kayaks out there. And then we were in the cave and then we could switch, so like we'll take turns and we'll talk about it as we go. But if you're like, hey, I just want to get there, like I don't want to make another stop, I'm thirsty and I want a snack and I want to just get to the campsite, you don't have to stop with us, but just let us know, like we're doing this, we're on the radio, we're staying together with your buddy. So
Dry snacks too are key. There's like a little, the kayak's not there, but there's like a little pocket basically like right in front of you where you can store like dry snacks, which is really
right in
nice.
front of the seat, it's that little like hatch,
Yeah.
and it's deep enough where you can technically it's to like store your fish if you're catching and fishing.
Cool.
But it's deep enough to put like a water bottle, like a little like easy to use day water bottle rather than having your big bladder out. You can't really do that on the kayak. So having a separate water bottle that's there that you refill in the morning before we head out, and then all your snacks and just
Two
different
packs.
stuff, sunscreen,
How big of a
anything
water
you
bottle
might
do you
want.
think you can fit? Half gallon?
like standard
And-
size.
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah.
got a little water holder in front of it, and it's probably like this big. It's a decent size,
But also
hydro
like
flask or something.
you're sitting there on the thing, you could put a giant water bottle just between
Okay.
your legs, you
Okay.
know, like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
space, but you just want to like hook, like bring carabiners or
Yeah.
something to like hook it off to something.
Yeah,
But there's like a surprising amount of like surfaces
yeah,
that you can place
put
things.
stuff.
You just want to make sure they're anchored down because if it sinks when it hits the water and it's not tied off, it will likely.
We'll be
like,
bringing a ton of
rolling.
bungee cords too to like strap things
I'm gonna
to
send
the
the gear
actual kayak.
list. So get yourself a little case of bungee cords because they definitely come in handy.
We got a ton too.
Yeah.
Sorry to make you go back a little bit, but I
No, it's
had to take a bathroom break.
Yeah.
You were talking about, just being aware of your location
Mhm.
when you're kayaking so that, if you have to make an emergency radio call, you know what your position is.
Mhm.
Would you just,
Yeah, right around this corner, first door on the left.
We're gonna talk about it. So as we're going, we'll be like, hey, this cave's name is, or like this cove is, that campsite is, and we'll name the stuff as we go.
I don't know if you can see the TV run, but that's the script you would say, and we'll have this laminated for you guys.
With the
So,
marine radio.
right.
And then so on when you call and say we are located, we won't have longitude, latitude like a boat would in their like setup. So because they know where they are and they have all their maps and stuff and all those like numbers and things. We don't have that on the kayak,
Okay.
but we just
Yeah.
say a landmark. Like I'm right next to Whippers Cove on the east side of Catalina Island.
Okay.
So as we kayak, Ryan and I will be talking about what's on the map, where we are, all the landmarks we're seeing, and we'll have that over the radio too. So if you're like, hey, we need it, like Mayday, we need to call, and then we'll say like, this is where we are, this is our landmark, so that they know where to find us. Like we're,
Yep.
you know. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions? Cool.
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure more stuff will come up. I forgot, I thought of it late, but like the waterproof cases to put your cell phone in should be on the gear list, but I forgot. But there's all kinds of little stuff like that. Like you kind of want to waterproof everything and just have
So I've got a waterproof case for the phone, but is there a special type where you can actually use your phone and it's waterproof?
I mean, technically,
Maybe.
the one that I have is good enough where if I hold it tight, I can still tap around on my phone. It's not as easy as if your phone's out, but it's better than risking your phone dropping. And then the better ones are the ones that have the floaty around it. So if your phone does fall into the water, it's not going to sink because they make the waterproof cases that have like a little air
And there's a
thing around it.
packing list I can print out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'll resend that out. I think we sent out the video. And then I couldn't get the PDF onto GroupMe.
Yeah,
GroupMe's annoying, but we'll email that to you guys along with this video and then the PDF of the itinerary.
Yeah.
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 So yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that's kind of it. We'll have the station set up. We'll have 2 of those, guys and girls. The
Yeah.
wag bag in there. Yeah.
I kind of trouble packing, so last time for Yosemite, I started early, that worked out good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Good.
had a pile ready to put in the bag and.
If you want to go over it before we leave too, you can just text me and I can go over it with you. Make sure you got
Yeah.
everything.
It's probably better.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure everything's in the waterproof bags and, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When in doubt, let us help you.
Yeah.
And like any questions, if anything comes up and you're like, what about this? Or I just thought of this, reach out in the
Still
group.
not sure whether I should bring a backpack or just a duffel bag or maybe a day pack and duffel bag.
I mean, I would say try to link up with somebody. If you're gonna bring your own tent, I'd say bring your backpack, your hiking backpack, just because tents are larger than usually everything else in your bag. But if you don't have to carry a tent, I mean, a duffel bag should be okay. Maybe.
A large duffel bag will fit everything.
Yeah.
I've got
Like a
pretty
big one, not
bag.
like the ones we talked about.
Got a pretty big bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Thing
not the
is-
largest, but it's.
I mean, as long as it can carry everything you need, because you don't have to carry it with you. They'll take it. So it doesn't really matter how big it is, as long as you can just
Probably
carry
have to
everything.
Do this in a duffel bag, maybe the water would be separate.
Yeah.
But I definitely will take a day pack too.
Yeah, a small one. It doesn't need to be huge. Because what we're taking to the airport in the sky
Or-
is like, yeah, enough
or-
water for the hike.
Yeah.
and whatever, like some, like put your phone in there. I don't know.
Go
I think I just carried a water bottle
back
last
to the
year.
sky, uh, to the airport. A day pack would be good.
Yeah,
Or even your the duffel bags that we got you guys for Yosemite,
like
the
that
like
little
drawstring
bag.
bags. That's good enough too.
You
That's
don't
probably
need
what I'm
you don't
gonna
need
bring.
a ton for that hike.
Okay.
Because we're getting to a place that has everything. Like they have food, water, bathrooms,
Mhm.
stuff. So you don't need the full setup as if we were doing like a 9 mile hike to the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You know? I don't know.
It's a nice little reprieve.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's it.
No.
Great.
That's the info.
All right. Thank you.
I'll
How's
probably
everyone
think of
feeling?
things that I haven't said and then randomly message all of you. Vanessa, do you have any questions?
No, it was just if you can resend the Garrett links because I
Yeah.
wasn't able to access them. Yeah.
Sure. I
Um,
think I'm gonna send them on email because GroupMe doesn't do the best with PDF links. And then I will like message everyone when the email's been sent out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, yay. I'm gonna stop sharing and stop recording.